From a Witness, 2006. 3 years ago, I had just returned from a trip from Niagara Falls with my family for 4th of July. We were all very exhausted after a long day of driving, so my husband and I put the kids right to bed and called it a night. At about 4 a.m., I woke up thinking my husband had gotten up to use the restroom. I used the moment to steal back the sheets only to wake him in the process. I apologized and told him I thought he had gotten out of bed. When he turned to face me, he gasped and pulled his feet up from the end of the bed. So quickly, his knees almost knocked me out. He then grabbed me and said nothing. After adjusting to the dark for half a second, I was able to see what caused the strange reaction. At the foot of the bed, sitting and facing away from us, there was what appeared to be a naked man or a large hairless dog of some sort. Its body position was disturbing and unnatural, as if it had been hit by a car or something. For some reason, I was not instantly afraid by it, but more concerned as to its condition. At this point, I was somewhat under an assumption that we were supposed to help him. My husband was peering over his arm and knee, tucked into the fetal position, occasionally glancing at me before returning to the creature. In a flurry motion, the creature scrambled round the side of the bed and then crawled quickly in a flailing sort of motion right along the bed until it was less than a foot away from my husband's face. The creature was completely silent for about 30 seconds. Just looking at my husband, the creature then placed its hand on his knee and ran into the hallway, leading to the kids' room. I screamed and ran for the light switch, planning to stop him before he hurt my children. When I got to the hallway, the light from the bedroom was enough to see it crouching and hunched over about 20 feet away. He turned around and looked directly at me, covered in blood. I flipped the switch on the wall and saw my daughter Clara. The creature ran down the stairs while my husband and I rushed to help our daughter. She was very badly hurt and spoke only once more in her short life. She said, "He is the Rake." My husband drove his car into the lake that night while rushing our daughter to the hospital. He did not survive. Being a small town, news got around pretty quickly. The police were helpful at first. The local newspaper took a lot of interest as well. However, the story was not published, and the local television news never followed up either. Several months, my son Justin and I stayed in a hotel near my parents' house. After we decided to return home, I began to look for answers myself. I eventually located a man in the next town over who had a similar story. We got in contact and began talking about our experiences. He knew about 2 others in New York who had seen the creature we now refer to as the Rake. It took 4 of us about 2 years solid of hunting on the internet and writing letters to come up with a small collection of what we believed to be accounts of the Rake. None of them gave any details, history, or follow-up. One journal had an entry involving the creature in its first 3 pages and never mentioned it again. A ship's log explained nothing of the encounter, saying only that they were told to leave by the Rake. There were, however, many instances where the creature's visits was one of the series of visits with the same person. Multiple people have also mentioned being spoken to, my daughter. I set up a digital recorder near my bed and left it running all night, every night, for 2 weeks. I would tediously scan through the sound of me rolling around in my bed each day when I woke up. By the end of the 2nd week, I was quite used to the occasional sound of sleep while blurring through the recording at night 8 times the normal speed. On the first day of the 3rd week, I thought I heard something different. What I found was a shrill voice. It was the Rake. I can't listen to it long enough to even begin to transcribe it. I haven't let anyone listen to it yet. All I know is that I have heard it before. And I believe that it spoken when sitting in front of my husband. I don't remember hearing anything at the time, but for some reason, the voice on the recording immediately brings me back to that moment. I have not seen the Rake since he's ruined but I know he's been in my room while I sleep.